Your e-commerce business is burning £1,000 every week because you skipped this crucial onboarding step. And it's a mistake I see way too many people make, but I'm going to walk you through how to avoid that today. I run an e-commerce business that's done over 7 figures, and I only need to run this business within an hour a day because my VAs, who have been with me for 3 years and 2 years respectively, run my business for me day to day. And it's because I got this right in the onboarding section. And this is a huge problem that I know I can help you to avoid with this video. So if you watch this video, you won't regret it. You're going to save that much money. You're going to build a team that actually cares, and you're going to be able to step away from the day-to-day running of your business and scale at the same time. Because this is the difference, what happens if you do this correctly. So if you hire without onboarding, then ultimately you're going to have missed messages from customers, which leads to missed sales, which is the £1,000 a week part that I'm talking about in the title. It leads to slow progress, slow scaling, and ultimately wasting money. Whereas if you have an onboarding system, which I'm going to show you today, you can have clear tasks, immediate impact, where your VAs can actually do what you want them to do, and you'll start to grow your business. Now, the real problem that I see people making is that they don't have a structured onboarding system when they hire. So when they hire, maybe they feel like they've brought on an A-star player because they've been through a good process to get that person on board. But ultimately, when you get them on board, they go through this repeatable pattern. There's no onboarding for them. So then they feel confused when they're in the job. That means that they haven't making constant mistakes and asking you constant questions. Then you need to step back in to help them out. And then because you lose that trust with your VA, the team doesn't last. And then you're back to square one and you have to hire again. But when you hire again, you've got no structured onboarding. There's a confused VA, lots of mistakes. You have to step back in. Team doesn't last. Back to square one, hire again. And unless you fix this structured onboarding, unless you have an onboarding process in place that doesn't lead to the confused VA, you'll just go round and round and round, and you'll constantly have to step back in, constantly rehire VAs, wasting time, wasting money. Whereas if you get onboarding right, then you'll hire A-star players, and it really makes a huge difference to your business. So let me walk you through that today. Because hiring smart people is just not enough. You need systems that help these smart people to do the right work that you want them to do. So why does this all matter? What does this come down to? Clear onboarding will give you a confident VA. When you have a confident VA, that leads to these 3 things. That is ultimately what we want as an e-commerce business owner. We want faster performance. We want them to get back to customers more quickly. We want them to deliver for customers, which ultimately leads to more pound signs or dollar signs, which is what it's all about. They'll also have longer team retention. They'll stay with you for longer because they feel confident. They feel like they're doing a great job, which is really important to VAs. And then they'll stay for longer, which means you haven't got to rehire. And ultimately, what this means, and what we're doing this all for in the first place, is that you have freedom to work on the business in the way that you want to work on the business. You're not having to do all the little day-to-day tasks that you outsource for in the first place. So let me show you how to set this all up. This is my step-by-step onboarding system that I'd love you to copy, put in place for your business, and you'll start to have incredible hires on your team. So step 1, once you've hired a VA, we're going to have an onboarding call with them on the first day. Now you may have done this in the past, but it needs to be something that really gets them bought in to the team from day 1. So on this onboarding call, we're going to get across the fact that it's really important in your business that you trust them and that they trust you. You want to give them context about what your business is all about and what mission you're on as a business. And then you want to get across the culture that you're building. So if that's a culture about answering customers more quickly than anyone else on the market, if it's a culture of trust and transparency, or if you want to build a culture that's all about making life simple for your customers, what is it that you want to build as a company? Get that across to your VA so they can buy into that really early on. Then on the same day, we're going to give them access to all the tools they need access to. The more quickly you give them access, the better job they'll do, the more they'll be able to get dived into that and understand the tools that you use, and the quicker you'll get results. So give them access to all the tools that you use. So obviously your Shopify, give them access there. Google Drive, Trello if you use that, that's what we use for order management. Give them access to the phone line and make sure they're in Slack so you've got some way of instant messaging to stay in touch with them. All of your SOPs should be in your Google Drive ready so they can start to get into these things and start to get their head around what they'll be doing for your company. Step 3 is to make it clear what your expectations are of them. So there's one thing telling them what they'll be doing, but there's another thing telling them what standards you'll expect from them. So what I like to set out is something super clear, super black and white. Maybe it's in the contract that you've got with them that you've signed already, or if it isn't in the contract, it just needs to be something that's clearly gone through on the onboarding step and something you can continually revisit with them. But what are the expectations that you've got for them? So if you've hired a customer service virtual assistant, then your expectations are going to come down to the reply time and how many missed calls there are and how quick they are to get back on emails, not just live chat, but also emails. These are the most important metrics that you need to track. So make it clear. If you want them to reply to every live chat within 2 minutes while they're working, then make that clear. If you want them to make sure there's absolutely 0 missed calls in open hours, make that clear as well. So have a short, easy to understand list of what your expectations are and get that across to them from the very start. And just make it black and white, put it in writing somewhere, and that way you know that you're working in the same direction as them. Okay, once you've got your expectations set out, then we're going to do a bit of a walkthrough of the SOPs and the systems that you have. So before hiring them, you should have recordings of you doing the tasks that you're going to be outsourcing to them. So whether that be order fulfillment, whether that be handling customer returns, there should be SOPs for you to show to them. And then I want you to have a document ready so that when they are onboarded, you have a clear master doc, something that looks like this, that has a clear link to each of the SOPs that they need to work on. So this is an example, and we'll give them access to this on their first day, and we'll show them these are the day-to-day SOPs that you'll be following. So, for example, this is the customer orders SOP. This is how you'll fulfill customer orders. This is how you'll deal with customer issues. This is how you'll upload products if that's part of the role that you've been hiring for. And this is how you'll create blogs. And there's an SOP, a template all ready for them to go, and walk them through it, and then tell them to follow those videos, and then tell them to ask any questions if they've got any after watching them. This is the mantra that you should be using when giving them SOPs. Show them once, tell them that you expect them to do it, and then let them try, and then just answer any questions off the back of it. But if you've done a great job at putting an SOP checklist in place, if you've got a video over to them, then they should know what they're doing from the very start and shouldn't have too many questions. Then, open Q&A section. So you've shown them the tools that they're going to use. You've shown them the culture that you want them to slot into. You've explained the expectations that you've got for them in their role. Now it's a time for them to ask you questions and to open up anything in the air. Make sure it's very transparent from this very start, from the first day, and give them a chance to ask any questions about their future. And really, the reason why I have just a really open Q&A is because I want to get across to them that transparency is super important to me when I build a team, and I want to make sure that they feel like they can just come to me with any issues. The last thing you want is to build a culture or a team where they feel like they can't express any questions or any issues, because if they don't feel like they can express those issues, they will just hide those issues, and they'll come out down the line when they leave the company or they make a complaint about you. Let's make sure from the very start that they know they're in a business where they can ask questions, they can express issues, so that way you'll have a much better VA relationship. So you followed those 5 tasks to onboard, and now you're going to have fantastic VAs on board and a really good relationship where you can scale your business and step back from the day-to-day tasks. But before you go, don't run away and do those 5 tasks yet until you understand the common mistakes that you need to avoid when you go through this onboarding process. The first one, I like to think we won't be falling into this trap anymore, is a lot of people have no onboarding at all. They just bring a VA on board, give them some tasks and let them go. But that just leads to confusion and that cycle we talked about earlier on in the video. If you've not got the tools set up, then ultimately you're going to have a VA who's just knocking on a locked door, trying to get into your business, but doesn't know how to use the tools. Make sure that's set up before they start. Have an SOP. So otherwise they're just going to feel like they're drowning in notification, feel overwhelmed if they don't have guidance on how to respond. So have these things really just laid out for them so that they know how to do things. Otherwise it will come out down the line if they've been doing it wrong. And the last thing, the mistake I see far too many people make, is that people just assume that they understand it. And if I could put a facepalm emoji in here, I would, or I'd do it myself, because really the issue here is you're just assuming that people, they just are going to get it. They're just going to know what your team stands for. They're going to know what you expect from them. They're going to know how to do the task that you want them to do, and really it's going to lead to a facepalm. You're going to be doing a facepalm, because otherwise you are just going to have a constant headache thinking that they understand what you want them to do, but really you need to make it really clear. Because if they are confused, that is a sign of poor onboarding, not poor hires. I wouldn't blame a VA if they feel confused. That's on us as business owners to make sure they know what they're doing, they feel guided through that. So with that said, it's time now to build a team that frees you because they know what they're doing. They're a great team of VAs that have bought into the culture, and you've onboarded them correctly so you can stop wasting money and start scaling. If you want my help in building a team that actually frees you, then go ahead and DM me team on Instagram, and I can send you across a pack of resources to help you. If you want me to actually just do this for you and speak with you about how we can implement the right people into your team and automate your business so you can scale and step away from the day-to-day tasks, then feel free to book in a call with the first link in the description, and we can talk through how to implement this into your e-commerce business today. So subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Subscribe if you did. Leave a like. Comment if you've got any questions or if you liked a particular aspect of this video, and I'll respond to all of those. And yeah, it'd be great to chat with you if you did enjoy the video today. So with that said, have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video.